because the reality of the thing is, like, I love the work that I do, and I love that it can provide something to people that I care about, which I care about my community. But like, part of the point of building things is that they outlive you, and that they are things that other people can help manage, and that especially for things like anything from poetry all the way to like building an organization or building an event, is that it stays with people. And even if it doesn't happen again, they get to keep that feeling and the ways that it impacted them with them. So it still matters, even like I even if something changes, even if something is different. And yeah, burnout for me looks like kind of getting stuck in that place where I think that the only value I bring to the table is what I can do for others. And I feel like getting less burnt out for me has looked like taking all of that care and all of that love that I have for people and trying to both like show it more to myself, but also to like put that energy and all of that restlessness into like thinking about what I want and kind of what kind of world I want to come next, what kind of life I want to build, and like what's going to come. Because I feel like the other part of it is that I kind of get tunnel vision. And I feel like when I'm really burnt out, all I can think about is like, just get the next part done, just get the next part done.
Yep.
And maybe then it'll stop being so exhausting because the whole thing will be over. But it's not, it's never over. The work is never done.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that is the part that like is helpful to remember, is like giving yourself the space to like actually, I don't know, get grounded again with what you're doing this for, and like imagining like a better future. Because yeah, when you're burnt out, it literally is just like, how do I get through this next task? And like you get very like dragged down in the details.
Exactly. And it can become like to the point where even things like kind of more baseline self-care just go out the window. And it's harder to remember, like, no, you do in fact need to eat food. Coffee is not a meal unless your meal is being provided from another food source. Like,
Yep.
conversation of just like, remember, you need to actually take care of your body in order for you to do things. But also, even if you're not doing things, your body surviving is part of you surviving, and that's important. Consider.
Yeah, your whole self is not your work. It's also like your body and your like self.
Yeah, and all of the things you care about, which a lot of it absolutely is rooted in things like community and building spaces. But like by that same standard, like having so the thing that I always come back to when I'm trying to recover from burnout is like the idea that with every generation of activists, like they built a whole lot of stuff with the intent of leaving more time, more kind of gaps of freedom for people in the next generation. And to me, like the best way that I can motivate myself to like take a break is to think of using those kind of stretches of freedom, like those stretches of freer time that, for example, unions gave us when they made sure we had weekends off, and to like utilize that time for things that bring me joy, whatever that looks like, or talking to friends or talking to family or walking my dog, like things that like in reality, yes, I know that literally everything down to the skein of yarn I pick up at like the sidewalk store is all going to be rooted in some type of capitalist system, and oppression isn't everything, but like something that you can feel separate enough from that you don't focus on it the whole time you're doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of that looks like writing or like planning out stories or talking. If even I very much have the habit of not shutting up just in general, frankly, but like talking to friends, good, it helps.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a strong advocate for the Southern tradition of not shutting the fuck up, but doing it to someone who will not shut the fuck up at you, and then just kind of talk at each other at progressively louder volumes. And you're both so thirsty that you're just like hoarse, and you're like, wait a minute, water exists.
That I feel like that is both a like Southern American thing and like a South Asian thing for sure. Like that is the intersection.
Pretty much just talk until you can't.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it was very helpful to hear you talk about like your care practices as well, because I think one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is how so many of us are just like burnt out, and I don't know, I don't really see, like, I want so badly to envision a time when I will not be burnt out, but I just don't know if that's really going to happen, especially in a pandemic, you know what I mean?
I feel, oh my goodness, it's hard because like, I don't like how much I like this quote, but it feels honest to me. So like Lydia Brown is one of my friends, and they had this quote that I'm poorly paraphrasing here, to the effect of like that white activists get burnt out and they get tired and they take breaks, and then they come back and they feel stronger and they can do stuff. Activists of color, and particularly disabled activists of color, frequently will like get burnt out and then take breaks and be lightly less toasted, and then continue working until they're more darkly toasted, and then lightly toasted again, basically. Like just perpetually burnt out, just possibly slightly less severely at some points.
Yeah.
And that's deeply depressing.
Yeah.
There's like a note of truth to it, in the sense that like for whatever person, like the amount of oppression and like the ways that it manifests in your life can absolutely still drag you down and like contribute to burnout, albeit not necessarily in the same ways as, for example, running a presidential campaign or something, where like you're just running a marathon. But like death by 1,000 cuts is still death, is a thing.
Yeah.